I recently stumbled upon something today and I wanted to make a video to show you what I believe is one of the biggest opportunities for a side or potential full-time business that I've never talked about before. So this video is going to be very different than anything you've ever seen, and it's all about what we call the perfect bridge business. So first things first, like, why a bridge business? What is it? Well, it's important to mention that one of the challenges that we often see at Marketplace Superheroes, and really we've seen this for a long time, is people struggle. So it comes down to money, capital, whatever you want to call it. And really, when people start a business, and it's an Amazon business because that's what we've been teaching for the longest time, money is a challenge because often people aren't used to investing. The concept of, I put $1, a pound, a euro in, and I look to get a return on that money. And so even though you might have the money sometimes, it could be in your savings, it could be just something that you have in your checking account or whatever, we don't always want to invest it to start a business. So people come to us a lot of the time and they say, well, look, I have a lot of time, I just don't have a lot of money. So how can I take my time? How can I invest it into something where I could actually get paid more money per hour than I'm currently getting paid right now? And then I can take that money, I can take that time, and I can grow it. And either I can use it to grow my Amazon business, or this can just be something that I do. Because the reality is most people right now, we have this thing that's important. It's called our EHR, our effective hourly rate. And you've got to think about that. You got to look at the month you've worked, maybe in your job or whatever. You got to look at how much you got paid for that time you put in. And you have to divide that into the time you worked into how much you got paid. That's going to tell you your effective hourly rate. Now, the goal for you and I should be that we want to increase this effective hourly rate. And if we can do that, that's something that can give us a lot more money and a lot more potential as well. So what is this bridge business and how does it relate to all of this? Well, as you know, I've been running Marketplace Superheroes now for over a decade, which I can hardly believe. In that time, I've sold a lot of courses, coaching, software, services. We even actually grew a freight company for a period of time here at Marketplace Superheroes, where we're helping people ship stuff from China into various different countries around the world. And when you look at all this together, I mean, look, you can combine companies, you can leave it, but I'm not going to get into the exact revenue numbers across the board over the last decade, but it's 8 figures. And at this stage, multiple 8 figures at this period of time that I've brought in revenue doing these kinds of things. As you know, I'm not one of these guys that's going to go around saying, oh, I'm just got all this gazillion dollars, because the reality is, even though a lot of money's been generated, there's a lot of costs in businesses and all of that. So it's not like I'm living on a private island or whatever with like a chef working with me 24/7, but we have a very successful business, right? Why is this important to you? You might be wondering. Well, one of the things people often say to us is when you look at things like courses and coaching and often services, but especially the first two, they both have a lot of things in common. What is that? Well, they've got a really solid profit margin, right? Because when you think about it, and this is something that we'll get into more when we talk about it, but things like courses and coaching, there are costs that go into running those things. There just are, right? But at the end of the day, the profit margins are really good in those things. But for you watching this, maybe you were like me. When I started in this whole thing, what was I? I was a data processor working in a government job. So I was not an expert at all. And so often you might look at things like courses and coaching and all of that and say, well, I'd love to get involved in that world, but I'm not an expert in anything. So there's no way for me to do that, right? So there is a way where you can build a bridge business where you can actually leverage these things like courses and coaching and services and sometimes software. You can make a potential income out of these kinds of things without you being the subject matter expert. Now, if you're enjoying this video so far, do go down and give it a like. Very, very important, because we're going to cover this in more detail. So how can you do that and what's come about? Well, over the years, there's been some really big things that have happened. But the biggest thing really is that technology has gotten better and it's made things simpler. Like, you think about Amazon, what we talk about here all the time, right? That's made the world of online business simpler for a lot of people starting out, because there's already a marketplace of customers ready for you and I to sell to. Even other tools, like even Shopify, for example, right? You think of other things like Uber, right? These are all technological based businesses. They use technology to make life easier. And as a result of that, they've been able to bring the cost down of delivery of these kinds of things, including courses, coaching, software, and services. Okay? So there's also another big branch of technology that's come in place over the last couple of years that is really important. We're not going to talk about it too much right now, but we are running a live event very soon where we're going to go into this particular technology and all this in more detail. It's down in the description, so I recommend you do get registered for that, but we'll keep going here because I have a lot more to talk about. So all of this lower cost of technology, better technology, easier to use technology has created a bit of a breakthrough, actually a massive breakthrough in the world. And this is something that you can potentially take advantage of, right? And so as all of this has happened, then we had, of course, the weird time a few years ago when we couldn't go anywhere. What's happened? Well, the world has moved to a much more digital place, right? Technology, things are now way more digital. So it's way more normal nowadays to learn a courses or coaching, whatever. It's normal to do that from home. It's right, not leaving the house, not going to a university anymore. This is all moved to digital. So what happens then when we take technological advancement? I don't think I said that correctly, but that's all right. Technology, we take the world of digitalness, kind of makes sense, right? And what happens when we put those together? Well, we do get a breakthrough. So now I want to tell you about something that happened that really changed everything for me, and I saw an opportunity for you, which is why I'm making this video as well. So a number of years ago, I was attending one of these mastermind events, and I call this like a 100K mastermind breakthrough, because when I was there, I was learning about different technologies. I was learning from other business owners. But one thing I saw almost every business owner who sold courses, coaching, and all that had in common was this big thing. They had this one big thing. They had an audience by creating one really, really important thing, content. So they would have content on YouTube and Instagram and all that, and they were subject matter experts. And they were building this audience of people who were interested in what they had to say. Some were running a lot of advertising, YouTube ads, Facebook ads, right? And they were all bringing this audience into play, who they were doing what? They were selling what we talked about earlier on. They were selling their course, their coaching, whatever, to this group of people. But you know what's really interesting? Most of them did not know a fundamental, and that is, and it's something you probably have even heard before, it's way less expensive to keep an existing customer than to get a new customer. Getting new customers is very, very costly. But the thing I noticed with all these audiences is they did not know how to consistently communicate with their audience to continue to sell different products, different services, different softwares, different coaching that they had in the long run. Sure enough, they could sell one thing to them, maybe a bit of coaching, but they wouldn't know what to do next. Do I sell other people's stuff? Do I sell more of my own stuff? Like, what do I do? Because the thing about it is, in business, the most important thing in these kinds of companies, different to an Amazon business, is what we call LTV, or lifetime value, right? The lifetime value. How much will someone spend with you over the lifetime of a business? Because if you think about a restaurant or even a takeaway or like a McDonald's or something like that, they've got a very high LTV because they might be there for 20, 30 years. People might even be going there for 20 or 30 years. And God knows if you're eating McDonald's for that period of time, it's not very good for you, right? But that is the reality. They're high lifetime value businesses. So remember what we talked about earlier on, right? We got these businesses here that got high margins because of what they're selling. Oftentimes it's very digital. There's technology coming in now to make even content and creating ads a lot simpler. But what brings all this together is, how do I create a higher lifetime value for my business? And where does this come in for you? What can I do? What is the thing then that these companies were all missing that I call the 100K mastermind thing? Because really, I could find $100,000 or more in every one of these businesses very easily, like very, very quickly. And it comes down to one word I'm going to give you. So I told you it's going to be one word. It's kind of one, but I made it kind of two, right? Sequences, but particularly sales or marketing sequences. All right. So if you've received emails from me, you definitely have, right? You will see we consistently are putting together different sequences or campaigns, we might call them, in order to offer our various different products and services. It could be software, it could be coaching, it could be whatever. But the thing that I've discovered is these companies literally don't know how to do this. And there's a even bigger group of people who really don't know. And that's people who all they do is create content. People who've got YouTube channels, people who are over on Instagram. They have content, and a lot of them are actually making their money just by the advertising these platforms are paying them. But I'm here to tell you something. That amount of money is very, very small in comparison to what they could be making had they understand, or could they understand, the power of sequences. And also one other thing, which is really important, and that is creating offers that people want to buy, right? Because the day of having a course, quote unquote, like that's over. Nowadays, a course contains the program material, the community, a bit of group coaching, maybe some tools. So it's a package, it's an offer. But these people that I spoke to did not know how to get a higher lifetime value by running sequences, by creating offers. And here is the thing I'm going to tell you, the breakthrough, as we talked about with different technology, there's now technology it's being created where you can literally take what I've created, the sequences that we run, and you can use this technology to very quickly localize or change the material or the information to quickly create high value marketing for companies just like this. And this is the opportunity that I believe is a huge bridge business, because you can get paid on a monthly payment as like a retainer from a client. You can get paid on a percentage of sales potentially. There's so much possibility, and you become one of the most important people in these businesses because you're able to help them monetize themselves more effectively. So if you're enjoying this video, give it a like and jump down below and type in training, and we're going to know to send you a link to the live class that we're putting on, where we're going to be teaching this bridge business in even more detail. We're going to be revealing the technology. I'm going to be showing you examples of these different sales sequences. I'm going to show you some different offers. I'm going to show you how we use technology to make it really simple to almost tap into my brain and my sequences, and you can bring them into other companies and you can install them in there and help them start making more money, help them increase their lifetime value. You're going to become someone who's really popular. So if you enjoyed this video, like it, type in training down below, and make sure you come to this live class. I promise you, you're not going to believe the level of value. You're going to get really excited. I know it's very different to what we talked about, but I hope you really enjoyed this one, and I hope to see you on the live class as well.